Hello and welcome to the back nine of a windy, rainy round 3 out here at Sunset Hills. It's the Discraft Ledgstone Open presented by Merrill. This is an Elite Plus event, which I don't think that we've talked about yet. So it's more Disc Golf Pro Tour points to qualify for the championships, more added cash, just more of everything. I'm Erika Stinchcomb.
I'm Madison Walker. We're your two hotkeys.
Honk.
Honk.
As you saw in the front nine, unless you're a psychopath and skip that, it's been some rough conditions out there. Not as much rain as some of the earlier cards, but still sprinkling, really wet ground conditions, wet tee pads, some wind. Missy Gannon, 2 down, bogey free through 9 is a really good start. I think we're 3 or 4 down is the best we're seeing.
Anyone under par right now is doing it right. Most of the field is over par with the conditions the way that they are today.
This is the worst tee pad on the course, I think, too. Hole 10, it's a par 3, 301 feet. A little bit uphill, so probably plays closer to 320. Those willows are right in the way of a typical backhand hyzer shot. You see some people try to sneak inside of it. You see people take the outside line and challenge those bushes. Sidearm is probably the best play as far as having an open route to the hole, but there is a guardian tree on the left that kind of makes it, I don't know, the tree just gets in your head, I think. Hokom working the flex. The reason I say this is the worst tee pad is just because you have to walk up this wet, like clay stuff that sticks to your shoes. And then there's quite a bit of that stuff on the tee pad. It's just a little bit slick.
Pretty typical landing area from Missy, especially with the tee pad the way it is. Just kind of sawing something off to the left, just making sure you get around that first guardian tree.
Owen with a really similar line to Missy, landing at about 45. Ella way too high, kind of saws it off there. Ends up by that strange, still somehow smoldering wood pile.
Yeah, it continued to burn even through the torrential downpour rain. It was very impressive.
Smelled like peat, like scotch, you know what I mean?
Yep.
You smelled it from the tee pad. Anyway, disc golf. Ella gets inside the circle there. Oh wow, Hokom even farther than I thought, just on the edge of circle 2. Gonna give it a really long bid here. For the fan zone.
Oh, just a little bit high on the band, but a really good bid.
For the fans, Missy. Yeah.
Come on.
Let's see that again.
In the lead and still hitting putts like this,
Yeah,
she
why
has
not?
ice in her veins. Love that.
Cool putt.
One of only 5 birdies on the day today.
And 2 in a row, which is hard to do today in those conditions.
Only 3 competitors got to circle 1
Wow.
at all.
Ella able to scramble nicely after hitting that early branch. And Hokom and Owen are gonna tap in their pars here.
I feel like after that putt, I would want like a chest bump.
Okay.
Slow motion chest bump.
I'd be into it. I would give you that.
Owen gonna be in solo second.
Now I just want a compilation of that happening.
Slow-mo chest bumps.
Can we make that happen?
Hole 11, downhill 393, but still somehow plays every bit as long as that. No, that out of bounds pond on the right hand side can come into play if you turn something too hard. There's tall grass on the left side that is also out of bounds all the way down. I like a straight to slightly overstable disc here, thrown on like a force flex, but we see Missy kind of hyzer flipping something, getting some gentle turn.
I mean Heiser flipping something.
Heiser flipping her paintbrush. The artist. Heiser flips the thrasher.
Beautiful shot. Also, I take it back. Slow-mo chest bumps would be so awkward.
Yeah, that's why I want it.
Okay, all right. Hokom landing in a really typical zone and about circle 2.
You never thought you'd hear this from the geese, but we could do with a little more giggling.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough day out there, everybody.
Oh, and overturning this forehand, but...
I mean, it's a destroyer, so...
Checking up in time.
Owen's discless is a lot like Missy's in that almost every shot is a destroyer versus, like a thrasher. Ella threw a mid yesterday, I believe. She bumps up to a C-line FD1 and gets to about 15 feet. Great shot.
Wow. Weak.
Weak. I'm just kidding. Had to disc up, huh?
I'm just kidding. I threw like a 13 speed.
Oh, yeah.
Sarah jump putting for birdie. There were only 3 birdies on the day today. Only 6 competitors getting to circle 1. That is so crazy.
It was, I believe, a left to right wind on the hole.
Yesterday we had almost 30% getting to circle 1 and 25% of the field getting birdies.
Missy unable to connect for her turkey.
Wow, 5 times as many people. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, yep. Ella in for another birdie.
Stacy Ronsley and Emily Beach, the only other 2 to get the birdie on hole 11.
And Ella working back to even par for the round after the first couple of rough holes.
Yeah, staying strong.
Now Hokom's even, owns 1 down, Missy's 3 down. So pretty good showing so far. Again, I think the back 9 has more danger and more potential for bigger numbers.
Also worse tee pads.
Fist bumps. That raises my morale. Colin Hanley, Stacy Ronsley, Macy Veladiaz, all 3 down. Hole 12, super sketchy tee pad on the asphalt, kind of pointed in a weird way, missing 1 corner. You want to throw something kind of out to the right just a little bit before fading in, or throw just a dead straight linear shot, which is of course very difficult to do. That water's OB on the right. There's an OB golf teeing area, pin high left as well. The most common mistake is kind of bailing out to the left. The approach is really difficult because it is a sharply sloping, left to right side hill where the pin is. So even really short approaches have the possibility of picking up and rolling.
Ella turned 1 over yesterday into the water. Nice correction today. Not quite as aggressive. Missy, on the other hand, says, I want to putt, and gets all the way down to edge of circle. She will be, unfortunately, right behind those 2 guardian trees on the green.
Missy disc up to a Z force. I'm trying to remember. It was a really weird wind.
It was.
Like my disc kind of elevated.
It was left to right.
Yeah, it wasn't a headwind. It was left to right.
But you could see those trees kind of working back and forth. I think it was swirly at the green.
Yeah. Hokom getting some air under it. The wind doing some work. You can hear it now. I feel validated. We were talking about it all day, and here it is.
Yeah, a little tailwind. It looks like at the tee pad.
Own with a destroyer. Again, kind of the bailout play here. Should be fine. Just an awkward approach from circle 2. Or maybe a putt. Who knows? Now it's a tiny basket. Little baby basket.
Mm-hmm. Barely see it.
And there are some strategically placed logs around the green to prevent disc from rolling away completely. So it looks like Own stays safe. Hokom attempting to save the par with an Anheuser jump putt here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I love the line. Ella with a super wide straddle. Doesn't quite run at it very aggressively.
Yeah, I kind of thought she was laying up, but I think that was a run.
Very soft bid. Missy with a similar stance, but on a knee. You know she's running it.
And she's fine with the result. Kind of late releases and catches a branch. Own with about 20 feet uphill. Looks like she almost lost her balance for a sec. Her back leg was kind of just floating there because she was pinned against that OB. No birdies on our lead card.
Only 6 on the day.
Maria Oliva parked it with a Pathfinder, which is like a straight mid-range. It was unbelievable.
She's such a boss.
Huge shout out to her.
Ella still doing work and keeping herself in the top 4.
At Discraft, we don't wait to see what the future holds. We build it. The future is in your hands.
Hole 13, 280 feet. With an island of out of bounds around the green. You can lay up and pitch across if you'd like. If you do go out of bounds, there's a drop zone that is around 60 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I don't remember the wind today, but it definitely existed.
It did exist. I'm trying to remember too because it was straight, because you couldn't feel it on the tee pad, but then
I think it was a little heady.
Once you got out there, I think it was like
Left to right head-ish?
left. Yes, it was left to right because I remember it wasn't favorable.
Yes. And this tee pad also is extremely slippery. It was really difficult to plant. I almost thought about changing my play to laying up because of not trusting it.
Same. Look at this.
Missy making it look so easy, though.
That's a Z Swirl Undertaker and is so pretty. What a shot.
Wow. That's why she's one of the best, folks.
Mm-hmm. That and that radiant smile.
This played is the 4th most difficult hole of the day.
Own just doing the layup play, which I think is smart.
Seems like a lot of players just continue their game plan of going for it, even though with the tough conditions, 57% of the field taking a bogey or worse. So it
was about 50 yesterday, so not that much worse. Hokom with a really great shot with her Neutron Crave. Yeah, I've laid up in years past, and then I made the island once, yesterday, and was just hungry for more. So I don't know. Oh man, Own almost cashing that in for a birdie. It's really hard to lay up on this one. It's 280 feet.
Oh, it actually was only 30 yesterday.
Oh,
and
really?
It was 60 today. Yeah. So
my bad.
Doubled. Yeah, it's like really hard to want to change your game plan once you see that you can make the island. You're like, oh yeah, I can do that every time.
Right.
Without a doubt.
Right.
Low
Easy.
ceiling, left to right crosswind, slippery tee pad. Got this.
Yep. Let me just pull out my driver. Yeah. Hokom hits the band on her birdie attempt. Missy from about 18 feet away cashes in another birdie.
One of only 3 on the day.
Sick.
She's just getting the ones that nobody is. Holland Hanley and Hannah Wynn also getting 2s.
And Missy's staying so strong, she's either been in the lead or had a share of the lead the entire tournament and defending her win last year. Wow, no bogeys on this hole. Good job, ladies.
Yeah, only 36% of the field taking bogey, so that's good.
Oh.
She's like, haha, look at my perfect shot.
You married a 10. Hole 14. It's 329 feet, but plays closer to 340. The right side trees kind of block the flex or the hyzer line. There are some gaps you need to hit. Kind of, you need to swing in under the trees. The biggest danger is if you hyzer out and get a skip, the left side OB can come into play quick. I think the flex line, what Missy is throwing, is definitely the best way to get there. But again, you got to miss a couple of trees.
Wow, she made that look so very easy. It was a right to left wind today, and it was gusting pretty intensely. So to get your disc to do that line so perfectly is very impressive.
Ella leaving it a little bit low. That puddle is gnarly.
I was about to call
awful.
it Lake 14. Coming up just short.
Owen flexing her destroyer. Definitely fading more than you want. We'll see if it can hang on and stay in bounds here. And she does.
That's like the third time we've seen Owen just right on the edge of out of bounds.
The third time she's stoked. Hokom working the sidearm, obviously.
Ooh, with a nice little ponytail flick. She'll be in circle 2, having to putt over Lake 14.
Landing just shy of that puddle is really the typical, I feel like the typical play. Like you think, oh yeah, that's a pretty good line, I got it. And then nope, you're not even in the circle.
Owen having to really push the ceiling to make it there. Really great bid. I love shining in the humidity.
She really is just physically glowing. And Hokom's been all over the basket today.
Only 18% of competitors got to circle 1. That's only 8 people out of 47.
Oh, give it to her.
Yep, Missy is one of them, and she's also one of only 7 birdies on the day.
I think it's Missy to 5 down, which I don't know if you watched yesterday's round, but that's kind of what I said is like my number of a good round on even a calm day. So to get there on a day like this is very impressive.
It's amazing.
Yeah. See if she can hang on. A couple of tough holes left.
One thing I do admire about Ledgstone as well is that it's a 4-round tournament at 2 drastically different courses. So it feels more like a Worlds type of a situation. It really does allow the cream to rise to the top. The most consistent player is going to shine. Missy's really showing that right now.
Yeah, Holland Hanley and Macy Velladia is also at that 5 down number.
Hole 15 played as the most difficult hole of the day. Again, 555, but plays a lot longer than that due to all the twists and turns. You want to throw a very far drive. I would say it requires about 320 to get to the mouth of the gap that turns really hard left. Then you have a tunnel shot with out of bounds all the way down the left-hand side to get the birdie. This is kind of a tweener hole. I think it always usually averages at about a stroke over par. This tee shot is one of the most difficult parts because you want to throw a turnover shot that lands right. Unless you're Missy Gannon and you can throw far enough to get to the gap. A lot of people don't turn the disc as much as you need and wind up going out of bounds straight. And then they're pinched and it's difficult to get around the corner. Basically an instant bogey. I love the forehand play.
Same. Yeah, it's just fine to land over here. It lengthens the hole just a little bit, but Ella will have a wide open window, but it's a tight, narrow fairway. Your thing is only about 320 to get to where you need to go.
It might be farther than that. I think it looks
it
like
feels farther just because it's
a turnover or like a flex.
It's like a tiny flex though.
Yes.
Can't get too crazy with it. It's gotta be nice
and
nice and tight.
The low ceiling off the tee, yeah, it definitely plays far. Yeah, the caddy book picture says it's about 300 to the corner, but
you gotta land at least 20 to 30 feet past the corner.
Yeah, I'm calling it. I think 320 minimum. I think it's more than that.
Okay, but a technical 320.
Yep.
Hokom overturns her sidearm on her drive and then is left with kind of an awkward upshot. It's definitely easier to play this hole if you land on the right side of the fairway than the left, and I think she pushed too deep.
Oh, and being away from that corner really opens up the shot, even if you are a little on the shorter side. Unfortunately, She is going to find the right side rough on the way down the tunnel. That's the mistake to make, though.
Yeah, I guess, but it's just like so tough being there. I think the mistake is to kind of like, I don't know, throw it short. I don't even think it's a mistake. I think you need to throw softer than you think to stay in the middle, and it's really tempting to get aggressive and try to get farther down the tunnel. Man, Missy's in such a good spot. She does kind of fluff the upshot a little bit, but you don't usually see people get all the way to the tunnel.
No, it is hard to throw a full attacking shot down this tunnel, though, because like Erika said, you come in fast and you can easily skip out of bounds left or get a little out of control and find that right side rough.
Wow, what a great scramble from Hokom. I thought she was a little deep, but there is a gap over there and she makes easy work of it. Jeez. I will say I landed in that same spot, and that shot is harder than it looks. Ella with a nice smooth chip up to 15 feet.
Own in the rough.
Yeah.
That right side, it can be brutal.
Oh, man. Oh, I think Hokom was just warning Owen for a time violation, or just an initial warning, not an actual stroke, just because it was so difficult in those bushes. Ah, oh, dang, I thought that was in. Missy with a great run for bird.
Ella makes good on the par. Only 7% of competitors get to circle 1 in regulation. That's only 3 people. And only twice that get to circle 2 in regulation. So
par felt good on this one.
Par is great. There were only 2 birdies on the day. Macy Vela Diaz and Jennifer Allen got 3s. 57% of the field take a bogey or worse.
Macy's 3 was so clean, too.
About half of that single bogeys and the other half doubles.
Wow.
Woof. Averaged at almost a full stroke over par. Hole 15 with the teeth. This final stretch on Sunset Hills is not nice, regardless of the weather.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Missy, don't leave him hanging like that.
She can't be good at everything, okay?
Gosh, we're demoting her to a 9.
Maybe she's good at leaving Tom hanging, specifically.
Jeez. Hole 16, it's 352 feet. Really difficult to get all the way to the green because it's basically just a slow turning Anheuser shot. Most common mistake is to kind of push too straight and end up in circle 2. Sometimes you get too aggressive and turn the disc too much, and that's the worst mistake to make because you can hit some trees and find some bushes on that right side. It was windy here, but I'm trying to remember. It was windy more at the green than the tee,
It was pretty much a straight headwind,
yeah.
I feel like. Because trying to get your disc to turn in a controlled manner, I remember being difficult.
Yeah, it was just wild.
Yeah.
Ella with another huge power sidearm with that horizon cloud breaker. And if she's not in the circle, she's at least at the edge. That was a great shot.
Huge sidearm from Sarah.
Love the height.
Wow, gets past that last guardian tree, and she'll have a putt for birdie.
That was her neutron relativity, and she's also glowing.
Wow, I throw MVP, and I don't know what a relativity is.
Oh. It's relatively not surprising. Nope, nope. She's tired, folks. Not in the right headspace for puns.
Own also.
Yeah, look at the sidearms go.
Yeah, that's a huge sidearm.
Own with the destroyer. Missy throwing the only backhand, which I would argue is the more predominant play, and she comes up short on the drive, but parks the approach. Hokom with too soft of a run there, but tap in par.
Man, Own's little warm-up putts look like she's paddling a boat. Kind of like her trophy from last week.
Oh yeah, it was an oar, wasn't it?
Huh?
Well, it works for her, folks. Let's see that again.
Slow Mez.
We were due for a good own putt.
Yes.
And she gets back to 1 under par for the round.
One of only 7 birdies on the day. Ella with a little stepper just outside the circle, but unfortunately missing a little left side. Owen with the birdie. Everyone else going to walk away with the par on hole 16.
I could also watch just a compilation of own reaction cam.
Yeah.
Colin Hanley tied for second, along with Own. Macy Valadez in the clubhouse with a bogey-free 5 down.
Wow. Bogey free on a day like today. Hole 17, 525. There's a Mando on the right you have to avoid. There's out of bounds all the way down the left-hand side. You want to just crush something as far as you can without getting too aggressive and bringing that OB into play. Your second shot is a sidearm or a turnover backhand, ideally as straight as possible because your drive was so far. The green slopes downhill behind the basket and sets up for some pretty nasty rollaways if you don't really make sure to land your disc flat on the green.
Own really turns this destroyer. It does come out of it, but I do believe the left side of the fairway is the preferable area to land to open up your second shot.
Missy just looking so clean, like a robot.
Disc golf is easy.
Yeah.
Robots can't smile like her. Ella yesterday had the farthest drive I've ever seen on this hole by like 100 feet. It was unbelievable.
Trying to match it today. Turns it a little bit, but doesn't miss the Mando. She'll
Pinched, though.
She'll be in a weird situation. She's got those nice, like, kind of high knifey sidearms, though, that could still get into the green.
Knifey.
Love the sidearm here. Hokom throwing it right at out of bounds, letting it hyzer back into the middle.
Hokom up first. Such a technical sidearm. You have to fade at the exact right moment to be able to birdie this one. Holly Finley said something about this hole that I really liked today. She said it's a working woman's birdie.
That's the most Holly thing I've ever heard.
I agree with her. Requires 2 very technical shots. And you got to have both the sidearm and the backhand. Now, just imagine her accent, though, too. It's friggin' perfect.
I'll never look at this hole the same again.
Uh-huh. Missy saws off her sidearm. It's going to be early. That can be rough in that corner. We'll see if she kind of got to the edge.
1 for 2 on the sidearms today, Missy Gannon.
I would argue that this is the only sidearm on the course that you actually need to throw.
Yep. Ella doesn't take to the sky like I thought. She keeps it low and skips straight. She missed the gap. We'll see what she has to work with over there.
Yeah. What's the opposite of knifey?
Yeah.
More of a
platey.
Yeah, sure. Platter. Hokom with a little jump putt, parks it for par. Missy on the edge enough to at least get close for her par. Own. Giving it a run. Ah!
Sit. Ooh,
Respect, though.
Yes, that hill can be brutal. And that is such a crazy attempt.
It's a perfectly own attempt.
It is.
Super awkward in that corner. Ella able to pitch out easily, though. Look at this nature cam action. She really had to crawl in there.
%36% of the field birdieing this one yesterday. Today, only 16% of the field. They thankfully laid down some wood chips on the green, though, because this green can get very slippery.
Working woman's birdie. Yeah, it is It's really bad. I mean, I wish the mulch was out for everybody. I think they put it out about halfway through as the conditions deteriorated. But
there was a lot of places that this
I was
course
gonna say, not
needed
a knock
mulch.
on the staff. Like the conditions were awful out there, and I think everyone's just doing their best.
I'm sure there was a lot of work to do because we woke up to flash flood conditions.
Yeah, we did, and there was like a downed tree and all sorts of crazy stuff.
It started raining, I think, at like 3 a.m.
I was gonna say 2. Yeah.
Yeah, early. And Missy up in a tie for third now in the clubhouse.
Last one, hole 18, par 3, 383 feet. OB on the right. There's a couple of patches of OB on the left. Most common mistake is throwing it right at the basket, then hyzering down the hill. You do have to get some turn or a flip up right at the basket. That can kind of bring that side or that cement area into play. I believe this was like a left to right wind. Owen with a sidearm gets to circle 2, and we'll have a long look at it.
Yeah, it was like swirling left to right. Sometimes it was really strong headwind. At the tee pad, look at those Discraft flags. They're like almost kind of a tailwind looking. It was very crazy on hole 18.
Here's what I was talking about, where you just don't quite the disc to flip over. I do think it's the preferable mistake to over flipping it, just because it's hard to find that OB area over there.
Yeah, that right side, it comes into play very quickly if you overturn your disc.
I love the sidearm.
You send the spectators running.
Yeah, scatter.
Wow, even getting some nice ground play on that side hill and staying up.
What was that? Horizon Cloudbreaker Ella's been throwing all day. Hokom working the flip-up sidearm with a neutron trace, and that looks fantastic. Wow.
I think this might be the only hole where the stats are better. Yesterday only 9% of the field getting it. Today, 20% birdieing.
Oh man, everyone's like, I don't care anymore. Send it.
Yeah. The cut line stats are in. I'm just going to throw this as hard as I can.
I'm just going to chuck it for the crowd.
Watch me birdie this 380-foot hole.
Missy. That was a good run. Ella, woo.
Yes,
And
nice.
that's to get 1 under par on the round.
Doing work out there to come back from a rough start. Look at her showing some mental fortitude.
And 2 down, clean 2 down on the back. Heck yeah.
So good.
And that's for Hokom to go 1 down as well.
Finishing strong and keeping it very clean on the back 9.
Missy, 5 down. Wait, was she bogey free? I can't remember.
What? I think that
She was bogey free, 5 down.
Wow. 2 bogey free rounds today. Pff,
Yeah, nuts.
Insane.
And Owen 1 down as well. Overall, pretty good showing. I know a little bit less exciting to watch than yesterday in the better conditions, but Missy Gannon is keeping the lead by 4 strokes over Owen Scoggins and Ella Hansen, tied for second at 8 down. Macy Villa-Diaz rounding out our card with that amazing 5 down round.
We get to watch her tomorrow at Northwoods Black from Tennessee. She plays a lot of wood courses. Can't wait to watch her play. Also, Owen Scoggins talked about hitting a bunch of trees today. Maybe we'll hear some of that tomorrow. Maybe it'll be clean.
Yeah, we'll see.
Look at everyone else. A lot of people over par today. It was a brutal moving day / cut day / national disc golf day. The cut line is at 24 with all the ties. That goes all the way down to Vanessa Van Dyken. Congrats to everyone getting to play Northwood Black tomorrow. And yeah, we got one more round here at the Ledgstone Open, presented by Merrill. I'm Madison Walker.
I'm Erika Stinchcomb with the 2 hot geese.
Honk. We'll see you guys tomorrow.